Hey guys, welcome to Red Balloon Films and thank you for joining me for an episode of Movie Talk where we talk about movies. I know. But what we're going to talk about today is the DCU and Superman, and most importantly, the casting of Superman. That's right. I think this is by far one of the best casted films I have ever seen in the comic book movie genre. There is so much to look forward to in regards to this casting. Now, don't get me wrong, other films have done brilliant casting. I think Professor Xavier and Magneto in the original X-Men films were spectacularly well casted. I believe that Xavier and Magneto in the Days of Future Past and the newer X-Men films were spectacularly well casted. And also Man of Steel had a brilliant cast with Henry Cavill as Superman, even though I think he maybe lacked the acting chops to pull off the personality of Clark. The writing of the film itself never really allowed him to show that aspect of it, right? But the film was well casted with him and Lois, maybe not so much with Jimmy Olsen, but there's a lot of good things about the cast in Man of Steel, in Batman vs Superman. Batman was extremely well casted at the end. I think Ben Affleck did a wonderful job as Batman. Gal Gadot was a brilliant Wonder Woman in Wonder Woman 1. It's not her fault that Wonder Woman 2 was a rubbish film. I thought maybe Jason Momoa was a bit of a miscast for Aquaman. They could have done something more in line with the comics. Again, as anybody ever listens to Red Balloon and Movie Talk, you know that as a creator, character animator, and character designer, I really think that it is fundamental characters at least look like the characters they're supposed to portray and act like the characters they're supposed to portray. And that for me is something that should be obvious, but yet Hollywood, Disney, even HBO, they all seem to go out of their way to cast people who actually look nothing like the characters they're supposed to portray. Unbelievably frustrating to me. But what I want to do is, let's take a look at some of these characters, right? I mean, this looks like an amazing cast, right? We're going to start off, of course, with David Cornsweet for Superman, right? Henry Cavill, brilliant looking Superman. Looked exactly like Superman, exactly what you would want. As does David Cornsweet. As did Christopher Reeves. And the reason they look like each other is because they all look like Superman. And that's how it should be. Could they use Henry Cavill again? I don't think so. The reason is Henry Cavill was linked to the DCEU, sorry. The general audience would get confused about why he's there, and I know they've done that with like some of the other characters, like, you know, Peacemaker still there, but and you got Jason Momoa playing Lobo now instead of Aquaman and so forth. But Superman is a pivotal character. You can never put him on the same footing as everyone else, right? He is the thing that will lead and carry the DC universe to wherever it goes. So to have it tied to the DCEU by having the same Superman there, never going to work. Also, Henry Cavill is like mid-40s now, or nearly mid-40s. The DCU, is only starting. Right? When Henry Cavill came into the role, it was like 2013. When he was cast, it was like 2011, probably even earlier, right? So he was like 30 or in his early 30s. He had loads of time to play Superman. He'd done a great job in Man of Steel. He'd done a great job in Batman vs Superman, The Ultimate Cut. Done a fantastic job in Zack Snyder's Justice League. But Warner Brothers made a holy mess of the entire universe itself. And Henry Cavill was, you know, maybe shafted of a proper run. Now, don't get me wrong, I have the Man of Steel DVD, the BVS DVD, the Zack Snyder's Justice League DVD, right? I have that as one of the greatest trilogies that exist. And Henry Cavill will forever have that. But he's like in his mid-40s now. And with the DCU only starting off, we need a Superman who in 10 to 15 years will still look like a young Superman, right? In 10 to 15 years, Henry Cavill will be 55, 60, right? There's no way he could possibly pull off still looking like Superman at that point. And no, we don't want the budget to be consumed by trying to de-age him. We need a Superman who is in his late 20s, early 30s, and David Corenswet fits the bill. He's also a better actor than Henry Cavill. And he's trained, I believe, in Juilliard School of Acting. Right? This guy has the acting chops to pull off not just Superman in the same way Henry Cavill did, strong, powerful, but also he can pull off Superman as the Boy Scout, as the shucks hero who is a symbol of good. He can also pull off a dual personality of Clark Kent. And I don't mean a dual personality of Clark and Superman. I mean Clark's dual personality. The Clark as he is around his mother and father, as he is around Lois, as he is around the people who know him and love him. And the Clark as he is around his co-workers and the general population, because they're two different Clark Kents. You've got Clark who is normal, and you've got Clark who puts on a bit of a front in order to hide himself so that people don't realize he's Superman. And he can do both of those. I think he can have the apple pie eating, good, humoured, not completely klutzy, but somewhat of a nerdy geek that Clark Kent is. And he can pull that off while also pulling off the bravado and the superhero that is Superman. And that's something I'm looking forward to seeing, because one of the things I thought lacked in Man of Steel was Clark truly showing his personality. Right? I think the only time we actually saw his personality really shine was when he was having a beer watching a football game on the TV right before Zod knocks all the power off and enters the fray. Right? I think it was like it lasted 20 seconds. That was the most of Clark's personality we got to see. The rest of it was just him brooding, moping from scene to scene, and then stuck in action the whole time. Action, action, action. Which was fantastic action. But there was too much. The character never got to breathe. He never got to shine through his personality. And I think David Corenswet's character will. And then when we look at Lois Lane, played by, I think I can't pronounce the name, but Rachel Bromsworth or something. Rachel Bromsworth. She looks phenomenal. She is gorgeous. The chemistry between her and David looks like it's really good. She looks like she's going to be an amazing, amazing Lois Lane. And I do think she'll do a better job than the Lois Lane we had in Man of Steel, because I don't think there was much chemistry between Henry Cavill and the Lois Lane from Man of Steel. So I think she'll do a brilliant job in that, and from what we've seen in the very early teaser trailer, she looks fantastic. Nicholas Hoult looked amazing as Lex Luthor. I think this will be the best Lex Luthor we've ever seen. He looks the part. The personality looked like it showed him as a evil menace. I mean, at one point in the trailer, we see him with a gun, what looks like playing Russian roulette with metahumans. I mean, this guy looks like he will be fantastic. Way better than Gene Hackman, who was far too comedic and so forth in the Superman the movie. And then way better than Jesse Eisenberg, who was, I think, not miscast, but was wrote very poorly in regards to BVS, right? He was playing I think Birthright Lex Luthor, as opposed to the Lex Luthor the general audience is actually familiar with. So I think Nicholas Hoult is a fantastic actor and a brilliant casting. Jimmy Edwards, I cannot talk enough about how much I love this casting. I love the fact he's in the film, but I love this casting more than probably nearly any other. He looks fantastic. And I've already talked about this in the past, but the CW, they cast a 6-foot bald person of colour with shoulders as broad as Superman and a chest and a six-pack. He was a hunk. He was a handsome, handsome man. Basically everything that Jimmy Olsen is not. It was one of the worst casting decisions I've ever seen. Now we have a Jimmy Olsen who actually looks like Jimmy Olsen. And hopefully he'll be able to pull off the acting, which I know for a fact he will. Just like Jimmy Olsen. And we've got other cast members. Again, we've got Perry White, who I think he'll do a grand job. Right? Just like Michael Fish. I always forget his name. Fishburne. I'm not sure it's Michael Fishburne or what his name is. But for Man of Steel, Perry White, again, he didn't look anything like Perry White. And he did a great job acting like him. But when I think of Perry White, I think of Smallville. I think of Superman the movie. I think of even Superman Returns. As boring as that film was, that's what I see when I see Perry White. I also think of the Superman, not Superman Lois, was it? Superman the movie, Smallville, Superman Returns, the cartoon, right? That's what I see when I see Perry White. I don't see Man of Steel's Perry White, because he looks nothing like Perry White. And I feel like I'm going to get the same here. I love the actor, right? The actor is in the TV show, Ryan, oh God, what's that secret agent with Jim from The Office playing a secret agent or a CIA agent? Anyway, he's in that TV show. Love him. Great actor. I just hate the fact that he looks absolutely nothing like Perry White. Mr. Terrific, he looks fantastic. Brilliant casting. Looks exactly like the character. I think this is probably one of the better castings. I loved him in X-Men. I think it's First Class he was in. Brilliant actor. Metamorpho, fantastic casting. This guy looks exactly like the character from the comics. I mean, that is brilliant casting. That's what it should look like. Look like the cast member. I think they have Nathan Fillion as the Green Lantern. And I know people are mocking his hair, yada yada yada, but it looks just like the comics. And he's this jerk, he's an asshole, just like the comics. This is exactly what I would have wanted. So Nathan Fillion, brilliant casting. Hawkgirl looks brilliant. There's so many good characters and great casting in this. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see it. Anyway, Superman casting, guys. I just wanted to say, what did you think of it? What do you think of the casting? Who would you have preferred maybe to have been cast in some of the roles? Love to get your thoughts on it. Can be a controversial topic, casting, right? People start jumping out with crazy words like racism and all this just because you don't like a certain person cast in a certain role. For me, it applies no matter whose race we're talking about. I wouldn't want Mr. Terrific cast as by Ryan Gosling. I want him to look like Mr. Terrific from the comics. And he does, and it's fantastic. And I wouldn't want Jimmy Olsen cast the way he was in the CW. I prefer he looks the way he does in the comics, and he has been, which is fantastic. I do wish Perry White was cast to look more like the comic book version, but what are you going to do? You can't have everything. And I know this guy will do a fantastic job anyway because he's a brilliant actor. So we'll just wait and see. But overall, very, very excited about the casting in Superman for the DCU. The movie comes out in July of 2025. I'm excited. I cannot wait to see what this universe is going to look like. Creature Commandos was that soft kind of launch for the DCU, but the real launch of the DCU starts with Superman. And there's a lot riding on it, guys. And I tell you what, everything I've seen from the casting to the trailer, everything looks fantastic so far. James Gunn seems to be doing a fantastic job, but it will only, well, I'll only know this as soon as I've actually seen the film. Again, let me know your thoughts. Have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video.